Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry, be happy. The landlord say your rent is late. He may have to litigate. Don't worry, be happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Don't worry, be happy. I give you my phone number. When you worry, call me. I make you happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ain't got
a bottle of water is £1 at the shops, £2 at the gym, £4 at an airport, and £7 on a flight. You see, it's the same bottle of water, but when placed in a different location, it has a different value. So the next time you're feeling undervalued, don't question your worth. Rather, question where you are.
Don't go buying this 200,000.
How much do you like real estate?
I love real estate.
Why?
Wow. I love real estate because one, growing up, nobody I knew had it. It was just a discussion. It was like hearing rumors when you heard, oh man, he owned 2 acres. 2 acres? Fuck you to get 2 acres. That's how it was.
You are listening to The Landlords, an intersection of marketing, resource, and advocacy for the real estate and building construction industries in Nigeria. For your brand promotions, ad placements, live appearances, and other inquiries, please contact 091-575-70635. 091-575-70635.
Good morning and welcome. This is the intersection of marketing, resource, and advocacy for the built industry. I'm your regular host at the intersection. One Plot is my name. Here you can catch the landlords. We'll talk about issues bothering on housing. I mean, that's simply put, get you a sense of what's happening here and there. If you're interested in real estate, if you are the type of person that takes interest in, the your built environment, what's happening in the built industry, what's happening around you, especially when it has to do with housing, this is where you should be. The landlords. One Plot is my name. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Honor 103.5 on the FM. This, no doubt, is let me borrow someone's coinage, the fastest growing radio station in IBCT right now. They're moving in miles, and this is where you put your products and services, especially right here with us on the landlords. If you have anything to do with housing, you're dealing building materials, you have an estate, you want strategic corporate communications for your brand, then you should think of Honor, you should think of the landlords. We're also online. That's the landlords online on www.metrocopy.com. Just go to the landlord segment. You find previous materials, information you can use, investment guides. We will be starting our review for the year 2024 pretty soon. As we enter into the month of November, we'll be speaking with captains of the industry to get a sense of how the year has been in terms of the business efficiency of the sector, ROI, all of those things. So watch out. Towards the end of this year, we'll take you through the real estate market review for 2024. We do this annually, so we're going to be starting that right after we finish this series, which is the Inside Oyo's Built Environment. We've been talking with the players in the built industry, from the architects to the surveyors to the town planners, different associations under the built industry segment here in Oyo State. Today, we'll continue our chat with the Vice Chairman, NI ESV, Oyo State Branch, ESV Tanigbola Olasunkanmi. Last week, we talked about quite a number of things. You can still catch that video online. You can find it on the Facebook page of Honor 103.5 FM. I think it's Facebook /Honor 103.5 FM. You'd find the previous edition of the show, so go on and watch it to catch his views on perception of estate surveyors and valuers, remunerations and commissions. We'll talk a little bit more about that, trends in estate management, and what the value proposition is for that practice. We'll just do a recap of that, and then we'll go on this morning to talk about the effects of hyperinflation on the country's real estate sector. How are they coping? How are the experts coping? How are the investors coping? We'll just get a sense of that. Rising cost of housing is a problem. I mean, it's on you find out on the human hierarchy of needs. So let's see a professional perception of how rising costs is affecting Nigerians generally. Then he will take us or walk us through his top real estate investment destination in Oyo State. I mean, you'll be hearing from the horse's mouth. We'll talk about that, if time permits today, extensively, because this is his last time on the show for this series. We'll talk about that. But before then, let's take you here and there. Let's see this. A major market trend now is investment in student housing. It's on the rise. If you're thinking of having, investing this year or next year, you want to save towards it. Student housing is a thing that's just rising as a result of higher returns. So you may be thinking about that, talking about market trends. That's what's on the rise. But I think that the office use is really on some sort of decline. So you should just do your research, speak to the valuers, speak to the people that you need to speak to get a clear understanding of where to put your investment. The real estate is quite broad, so investment in student housing is on the rise now because of higher returns on investment. What are the experts saying? Professionals in the real estate sector are grieved by unwholesome activities of people they describe as quacks, and pseudo practitioners are advocating sanctions, including jail terms. Wow, this is something. The professionals, including Adeniji Adele, President FIA BCI Africa, that's the Near East region president, was speaking at an industry event that held in Lagos recently, and they believe that this will send a red signal not only to the market but also to the industry as a whole. So we'll talk about that with my resource person, the landlord for sure, this morning to get his own opinion on the subject. But this is big news, good news for investors, especially those who are looking to expand their portfolio outside of Nigeria. I don't know if you've heard the brand is quite prominent. REI Capital, a US-based company, is giving Nigerian investors an inroad into the US commercial real estate sector. This is a big one. There's a plan that they asked that will help to, especially help international investors from outside the US navigate the high entry barriers. Is always an issue. The regulation there is very, very strict. So REI Capital will help investors navigate that, and the complex tax systems too is usually a, a, a a pit or a peep, let me say that, a pit for investors. It will help them navigate that. I mean, I think it's a good one, but you need to do your research, go online, just use the right keywords and try and find out what's happening, what REI Capital is trying to do in terms of bringing investors into the US real estate sector. That's a big one. Thank you once again for joining us. In case it's your first time, I'm One Plot. This is the Landlords, where you catch the built industry experts. It's an intersection of marketing, resource, and advocacy for the players in the built industry. And we're inside of yours built environment. This will be our last edition in this series before we start our market review for the year 2024 with the captains of the industries. Let's get a sense of how the year has been, talking about that bottom line, all of those things, business efficiency, all of those things, and also get a sense of what to expect next year as we enter into the outlook for the new year by the grace of God Almighty. Okay, thank you so much for coming. Let me welcome my guest this morning. He was here last week. We'll now continue to get his ideas on some of these issues. The Vice Chairman, NIESV Oyo State Branch, ESV Tanimbola Olasinkami. Thank you so much for coming to the intersection.
Thank you very much, One Plot.
Is a landlord for sure. For sure, for sure. Now, you heard that story about experts, the valuers, the professional real estate practitioners wanting deal terms, some sort of sanction, punitive measure for those that are not supposed to be practicing real estate. What do you think about that? Jail term?
Yeah.
Isn't that a little extreme?
For me, I think maybe let me start by greetings to our listeners and viewers, as the case may be. Jail term, I think it should not be an extreme thing.
You think
in as much as not death penalty. Because I realize that people tends to break laws when the penalty or punishment is not severe. So it's not possible for someone who is not a medical doctor to act as a medical doctor because life is involved. In the same vein, someone who is not an estate surveyor and valuer trained to manage properties, coming around to claim that he can manage properties, he can sell properties, can dupe people. And what will happen to someone that is defrauded?
But there's a value chain here.
Yeah.
Different people
Are involved.
bringing value. The sale of a house normally will require a lot of resource, relationships. You have the lawyers, you have the builders, in fact, themselves. Maybe the first ones to hear that the house is going to be for sale, or the architects, and then you have the marketing arm that is also broad in itself. We know that you need to publicize some of these briefs, if I may, to get them off your table. So how do you manage that?
Every one of us, as professionals, we have our roles.
Yes.
An architect is meant to bring out the concept, the idea of the investor, actualizing it, put it into drawings. The builders are to build. We are estate surveyors and valuers. We are to carry out the assessment, even from the conceptualization stage, that, what you intend doing, will it be viable? I made mention of it during our talk last week,
yes,
that it's necessary to engage an estate surveyor and valuer from conceptual stage, because you might be thinking of one form of investment in real estate. You know, like I said, we have so many various property investment. We have the residential, we have the commercial, we have the hospitality, we have a whole lot, agricultural, industrial, a whole lot. So when you want to cite your investment, you need to engage an estate surveyor and valuer to guide you. Oh, this place will be ideal for this purpose. Checking through going through our educational background, you will understand that anything attached to land, either be it above or below the earth surface, is one of the things we consider and we manage.
I think we've got some bills to pay. We're going to continue with your ideas and what is right about some of these things, because like I said, it's about value addition. A lot of people bring their different values on board to make a sale happen. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just going to get your ideas on how you think that this can be resolved, you know, to make sure that people are compensated along the line. You know, thank you for joining us on The Landlords on Honor 103.5 of the FM. We've got bills to pay. We'll do that real quick. We'll be back afterwards. Don't go away.
Honor 103.5 FM.
Do you need a reliable and super fast unlimited internet for your business and home use? If yes, iWorld Networks is your solution with our uptime affordable internet via fixed broadband. No data caps and throttling. You can enjoy your distance learning, business meetings, and family time with our reliable internet. With 24/7 proactive customer support and 99.8% uptime. We also provide connectivity for offices, schools, financial services, hotels, government, etc. Chat with us on www.iwn.ng. iWorld Networks, we've got you covered. Sign up and get connected today.
The essence of interior design will always be about people and how they live. It is about the realities of what makes for an attractive, civilized, and meaningful home environment. This is our foremost concern at Mr. Johnson Furniture and Interior Decoration, and this is why we stay faithful to your own taste, because nothing you really like is ever out of style. Mr. Johnson Furniture and Interior Decoration, we specialize in importing and delivering quality royal beds, sofas, lights, and doors to every home across Nigeria. We are located inside Dogafort Filling Station in Leura Junction, Akala Express, Ibadan. Call us up on 080-913-35706 or send a WhatsApp message to 090-445-30230. We don't just sell quality products. Our maintenance team is on standby to give free routine maintenance for a whole year after purchase. Mr. Johnson Furniture, our passion is to bring affordable luxury to every home and offices.
You fit fly. Do you know the key to unlock your dreams of traveling abroad to different destinations like USA, Canada, UK, Australia, and other countries in Europe is at your doorstep?
All you need do is just pitch your tent with You Fit Fly, and we shall show you the world in comfort. Oh yes, we're still leading in ticketing, flight reservation, airport transfer, special vacation, hotel reservation, international travel consulting, tour package, travel insurance, and holy pilgrimage, and others.
If you therefore wish to study abroad or travel to different countries around the world, we are here to give you that opportunity.
At your Fit Fly office,
Block 8, Plot 15, 7 Up Road, Oluyole Main Estate, Ring Road, Ibadan, 0901 111 1190.
Website www.youfitfly.com. With You Fit Fly, you shall see the world in comfort.
On 103.5 FM.
You are listening to The Landlords, an intersection of marketing, resource, and advocacy for the real estate and building construction industries in Nigeria. For your brand promotions, ad placements, live appearances, and other inquiries, please contact 091-575-70635. 091-575-70635.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the intersection of marketing, resource, and advocacy for the built industry. And we are inside Oyo's built environment. I'm speaking with the Vice Chair, NIESV, Oyo State Branch, ESV Tanibola Olasukami. He is a landlord for sure. One of the people you should be talking to if you're thinking real estate. As a Vice Chairman, he knows everything. I'm sure he has the connect that you need to make that brief go. And don't forget, you have anything to do, you have a brief, you have properties, you have anything real estate, come to us. We'll point you in the right direction. Come to Honor 103.5. Ask to speak with Sama, or you just ask how you can get the landlords. We'll point you in the right direction. Recommend the right experts to, take care of whatever it is that you need. Before the break, we're talking about this call by experts in the industry, talking about the surveyors, estate valuers, surveyors and valuers, talking about wanting imprisonment, some kind of deterrent, serious one for pseudo practitioners or quacks, if you like. The president, FI ABCI Africa Near East Region, Adinija Adeli, said this recently as an industry event. So I'm getting the take of my landlord this morning on, how he thinks that can be managed if you consider the fact that it takes a lot to make a sale happen in real estate. There are so many people bringing their own value on board. So many people already know about these properties. So many people are a part of the history of the property, and they have a sense of, I don't want to say entitlement, but belonging or ownership, if you like. You were sharing with me, Chair, you were sharing with me your experience with how people who have nothing to do with the profession can sometimes be the ones to initiate sales or to make sales happen.
Yes. I just, like I narrated a scenario to you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine somebody who happens to be a vulcanizer that is close to a family?
Yeah.
And once the family, they are based abroad, they now want to sell the property. But for the mere fact, considering the relationship they have with such person, they handed over the key to him, that, okay, whosoever that wants to come around. But because they are now around to inspect the property, when the people that are saddled with such responsibility, the engaged estate surveyor and valuer visited the property, the man insisted that they can't enter.
Why?
Well, that's left to him. That he can't enter. He has not received call and stuff like that. There's somebody that that is not into any engagement, but because of relationship, because of the relationship with the owner. So at the end of the day, when the agent realized that, okay, well, this is what this man is up to, he now called him and let him understand, look, I am ready to part with so. That you have been the one handling the key for the
that
family.
is it. How do you manage all of that?
No, we can manage, but it's not that people will now start taking authority over what they do not have knowledge of.
I don't know, also, for instance, a couple of years ago, there are laws guiding the practice of real estate here. I don't know what reading, if it has scaled the second reading, or how do you say that, but I know at a point there was this talk about the Oyo State, I don't know what the term is now, a law that caters to the needs of those who should practice how much you should register with as a developer, and so many other things that there are fines and penalties also for people who, by the state government now.
The laws are there.
But it's the implementation.
The implementation is the issue, execution of such. So one thing I want people to understand, basically, like I said last week, the primary assignment of an estate surveyor and valuer is not all about management of property, sales, and such. We have a whole lot of responsibility that people we have to understand. Like I mentioned,
All in the
from
interest of the
conception.
investor.
Yes, I want you to understand that real estate investment, truth be told, an investment in real estate is a journey into bundle of physical, economic, social, legal, and statutory complexities. Because it's not just that, okay, let me just go, let me get the land, let me build whatever I like.
Yeah.
There are prerequisites, there are laid down rules that, okay, if you now, out of your hard-earned money, you will now want to invest in real estate, you can't just say, okay, this is where I want to. You need to visit, contact an estate surveyor and valuer for guidance and advice. Because real estate, it's not like stocks, it's not like shares that you give your money to work in the hand of someone else. You have to monitor it. It starts from, even when you are talking of management, it starts from handling, drawing up and executing appropriate lease or tenancy agreements, maintaining peace, coexistence among occupants and adjoining users. Even tenant selection. Like I said last week, it's not all the tenants that walk into your office are fit to be given an apartment. You need
There's
to
a way to
cross-examine.
categorize
Yes,
people.
you need to cross-examine. The size of the family matters, the income, the type of apartment the person was staying in before, where he was staying, amount he was paying, the rent he was paying before, all those things. Closeness where he works, and for instance, somebody working in Bodija now is now saying, okay, get me an apartment in Bodija because it's close to his place of work, and he's initially living at Moniya. By the time you now consider the rent passing in Moniya and the rent passing in Bodija, it might be difficult for such person to meet the subsequent rent payment.
Yeah. So let's talk quickly about the effects of hyperinflation on the country's real estate sector. In summary, what's your take on this?
It has to,
because I've spoken with the builders, the quantity surveyors, everybody else, now the valuers about
let me just tell you, it's from two angles. Individuals, as investor, and two, the government.
Okay.
The government, in the sense that the high cost of building materials is really causing the skyrocketing rents of properties. Do you know how much they sell cement as of today? How much is iron rod? If you really want to build a house that will meet up with standard and that will be able to stand the type of soil we have in this type of climate, you need to introduce iron rod in most of these buildings. So if you now consider the cost, and at the end of the day, and that is one of the areas that is affecting us to have housing deficits. Because it's not easy for someone who is not buoyant to go into construction.
Yes.
It's not easy.
So
that's area of the government. Now individual.
Yes.
People that have gotten that have built their house over years, to maintain it, they will be considering, okay, because so person is calling for so much amount on a newly completed house, that okay, it's calling for 1 million naira as rent. My own too is almost the same neighborhood. It's only that one is having borehole, my own is having, I can sink a borehole and stuff like that. They will tell you their own rent too should be in the range of 900, if not new. So individuals have a role. Likewise, the government. I wouldn't want to use the word blame. So individuals have a role to play. The government have their own role to play. So in the area of finding solution to it, the government should find an alternative into building materials.
In terms of reduction in cost.
Apart from, for instance, the
alternative building materials.
Building materials. Go to China. They have invented so many things, bamboo and so many things.
Yeah, well, we've spoken with the architects and the builders about this, and this is also, they share the same line of thought. But don't you think there's need for some kind of price regime, some kind of price control by the government?
Price control can only come where you have invested.
Because, I mean, people, I don't think it's right that I can just wake up
and just
say
rent.
This is like,
and that is what I'm saying.
You painted a scenario where
the government, if for instance in Lagos they are saying they want to control, they want to control the rent, they want to control the number of
monthly
payment. You can only do that where you have invested. For instance, some of these investors in real estate got their money invested so that they will not spend it anyhow, and they are expecting the return on their investment.
It will slow down. Some of these policies, might just eventually slow down people's return on investment. But then, what about the end user, the people? Don't you think that will help in reducing the country's housing deficit if there's some sort of control?
Government should go into housing provisions.
I think we'll talk about social housing policy.
Let me say something
as well.
What happened? We had low-cost housing scheme in the past. What happened to it? What happened to the federal mortgage banks? These are things we need to start considering.
Those things are there.
They are there. But what I'm trying to say, how many people, how many how many branches of federal mortgage bank do they have?
And how many people have access?
Now look at the population of Nigeria, over 200 million. How many mortgage banks do we have that are strictly for housing provision?
If we're going to reduce, because the high cost of housing is a problem.
It's a problem,
especially as we enter another year.
Let me. Okay, for instance, in the past, we have government that built Owode housing estates. It's a low cost. What has government put in place again in the recent time? These are things we should consider. We've been having GRAs. That means the average class is not being put into consideration. The middle class.
So you think that, because these things are interwoven, if I may, but you think that one of the solutions to
meeting the housing deficit is provision. Yes, meeting the housing deficit
is for government to step up its game.
Yes,
and I'm also saying that
Lagos, they have started, even local governments in Lagos
have started providing houses,
affordable housing schemes.
Yes, I'm also saying that. Don't you think that some sort of price control can also help with that? Because there's so many expensive houses there that people don't live in. If you look around you, not just in Abuja or some of the cities, even here in Ibadan, there are so many houses that are not occupied, not because they are not good or something, but people can't afford them. So I think that they should look into affordability. They should look into some kind of price regime, so that I know that if I have this type of building, they would have sat down with people, professionals such as yourself, your association, the building and quantity surveyors as well, all of the people that should be involved, to come up with some kind of template, so that you know what the template is in every neighborhood, and these things are reviewed per time, to accommodate the trends, the market trends, and all of those things, the market realities. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that some sort of price regime will help, especially with the way the economy is in Nigeria. How many people can afford 1 point something million for a 2-3 bedroom in the Bodega?
And that is why I said it, that when we have all these schemes of various status, you understand, okay, this is where I can live. Ajoro New Town was built by a government.
Yes, I think this government is still trying to...
This government is upgrading.
Yes,
it's now becoming something else. I must sincerely appreciate the current government.
But these houses, because of our time, these houses are affordable. Are they affordable?
let me tell you this. Like I said, the cost of building materials is instrumental to all this
high cost.
A building, let's look at this. I am not a quantity surveyor, but I can tell you by value, by experience, that the cost of constructing a 3-bedroom bungalow with good facilities
and what size? Of maybe something on
normal size, let's say building area of 100 and something square meters.
Okay.
You can't spend less than 10 million.
That's if you don't want too much.
If you don't want, that's what I said, an average. So that is one of the areas I'm trying to. Before a civil servant earning minimum wage could achieve 10 million naira to build a house, it will take a time. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
it will take a time. So cooperative and stuff like that, we have to start coming in.
But do you think, I'm just trying to guide us a little, do you think that if care is not taken, we're going to have a major housing crisis soon?
We have...
because see what's happening in Abuja. I don't know if you heard of the demolitions. I think it's becoming a daily or weekly thing.
You see, most of some of these properties are built but not completed. We have so many properties. Government, even federal government are having housing buildings that are not occupied, dilapidating from time to time, and nothing is done to them.
Because there's no the policies around housing should be robust
that is exactly what I'm saying.
To address the issues, the realities on ground.
Estate surveyors and valuers are available.
Yes.
To advise accordingly. This structure that you have constructed and not being put into use. For instance, let me tell you, 1004 was there for a while, not occupied. But by virtue of advice from estate surveyors and valuers, they had to start selling bit by bit, apartments and stuff like that. Now it's occupied, and a whole lot of expatriates are staying right inside it.
So you think that what will also help is regular interface with the experts?
Experts should come.
They say you people have these meetings with government every time, but eventually it's not what is discussed, is the implementation of what is discussed.
But when you advise someone and during the course of implementation you are not being carried along, nothing.
Well, we need to just find a way to get rid of all of this, so that, because look at what the Nigerian economy is. How many people will be able to eventually build houses before they die now in this country? Let's be honest. If they look at what they are earning, if they look at the cost of some of these things, it's bad news. But I can tell you that some people will not be able to build houses of their own without the help of government. Do you agree?
Of course.
Now let's quickly drift into your top real estate investment destination in Oyo State for, let's say, low income or middle class, something that middle class person, for the middle class family and stuff like that in Oyo State here. Where do you think that one can situate such projects, housing estate and all that, and will still get a very quick return on their investment?
Thank you very much. Ibadan being a multi-nucleus city, we have a whole lot of area. Ibadan is expanding. It depends on the area that you prefer to stay. For instance, we have so many growth poles. Growth poles now. Ibadan is having, like I said, multi-nucleus in the sense that it has about 2-3 central business districts. It's not only Dugbe again. Iwo Road is another growth pole. Challenge is another growth pole.
Yes.
Ojo is coming up.
Akala Expressway itself is
fine. Now it now depends on where you are working. If you really want to go, for instance, if you have some areas, if you are working close to challenge and environs,
if you want something in that area,
you can look at Arakpaja, all those area. There's a place they call Elututun, Ojoekun, after Mekun, after Elebu, and all
after. Wouldn't that be way off? Way in?
No. Let me tell you one thing. Provision of infrastructure will help in development of these areas, because once the government starts providing infrastructure, I think the government of Oyo State is trying in this area now by trying to fix the roads, and if all these roads are put into good shape and they are motorable, it will not probably driving from Elebu to Challenge will not take you more than maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes at most, because it's a dual carriageway.
If you are doing the normal proper speed limit.
Proper speed limit. You don't have to go. We don't encourage excess.
James Bond.
No, don't do James Bond, because the rate at which they have accident on that road is something else. But let's be reasonable. We have, for instance, people staying at Ojo now. We have Arulogun area. So many areas are coming up because the state is expanding.
Like 5. I don't want to hear Oluyole. I don't want to hear.
No. Oluyole is
the ones that are just developed,
and
I don't want people just.
The essence, the essence of expansion of the city is to decongest the city center
yes,
and expand. And now I just mentioned Arakpaja.
Arakpaja. Let's just make that one.
Yes, Arakpaja. When you are talking of Arakpaja.
Why should Arakpaja be on the list? Because they have good roads,
they have good roads. Let me tell you, they have good roads, and you can access the place using 2 different routes rather.
Do you sense there's a layout there already?
Well, that depends on the video. For instance, I have seen some cooperative society having their scheme there and stuff like that. It will help, and it will encourage development within that kind of a vicinity.
So Arakpaja 1.
Arakpaja. I only mentioned Arakpaja. Arakpaja falls within Oduono Kekere axis. Arakpaja, Ojoekun, and stuff like that, like that.
So you can get, you can still find land there to
yes.
have your investment.
To have an investment.
Like an estate.
Yes.
Of 100 houses, for instance.
Well, if you have that money.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about like 2 or 3 more places.
Yes, another place you should look into is Agbofieti.
Wow, I never heard that before.
Agbofieti is after Nayot. Iletutun. It's still the same within. Agbofieti is to BCJ Axe. Elenushosho is after Nayot. Iletutun. All those areas, those are the things those are the areas.
They are good areas. What's the road network like? How
they are
to connect to the city.
Yes, because from that's why I'm saying from Elenushonsho, you can easily connect Ologun Eleyele.
That's a long one. So if I walk in Dugbe.
If you are walking in Dugbe, there is no need to you going to that kind of an area. You can but
that's what you find happening.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I said it earlier that Ibadan is a multi-nuclear city.
Yes, you did.
Having different growth poles. So, if you are working in Dugbe, you should concentrate on areas like Akpete.
We're thinking affordability
now. Akpete. You should concentrate on Ologun Eru, because from Ologun you get to Eleyele Dugbe.
I don't think the major parts of Ologun, in fact, is, it will be hard for you to find a plot of land there.
No.
You think so?
Ologun is
major parts. I'm not talking about places that are almost like getting to
Ido. Of course, let me tell you, that is what we are saying. Once a state is expanding, or a city is expanding, provision of infrastructure facilities, good roads, electricity, and stuff like that will make it easy for people to access their location.
Honestly, I think Ibadan is expanding rapidly.
Because
why?
Business is coming up in Oyo State.
Really?
Business really coming up.
Can you really feel the private sector presence as such?
You said what?
Is the private sector presence, is it, significant?
Very, very well.
It's growing.
Because I can tell you, do you know the the current train that links Ibadan to Lagos.
Beautiful.
Can make people to stay. Oh, let me stay in Ibadan. I get to work.
So you have a lot of people who now stay in Ibadan and work in Lagos, work in Ogun State.
Yes, work in Ogun State.
You know, because it's more peaceful here.
More peaceful, and we don't have issues. Issues like.
But the government will need to. Well, they've already started. You know, some of those roads that you see rehabilitations going on here and there. Yes, but the roads that will connect to the places that we're talking about. Also, I think that the government should take the initiative of going there and really just doing something. We know that they don't have much to spend, but they also have much to spend now that subsidy is gone. We know that a lot of things are happening.
Yes.
You know, so some of these funds should also go in expanding those roads so that people can.
You see, one of the problem is I wouldn't want to start saying that individuals defaults in building lines.
Well, that's going to be an entirely different kettle of fish.
Exactly.
And we won't have time to talk about that. But because you've told us about Arakwaja, right?
Mm-hmm.
As one, and Akpete.
Akpete is another good area.
Akpete is, if you're thinking medium cost. If you're thinking medium
cost, yes.
Something like it just go with the plot of land and the house, maybe Arulogun. But I think that place is an outskirt, isn't it?
It is, but let me just say one thing. Do you realize something? Some years back, Akpata, Bembo area was an outskirt.
That would be like some 50 years ago.
Not at all. We're talking of in 2004. Yes, 2004, 2008, before 2004, between 2004 and 2007 rather, before the construction of Akala Express.
Yes.
How much were they selling land at Elebu?
How much? Tell us.
200,000, 250.
Yeah, I know. 400,000. You could get 1 acre for like 750.
750 1 acre. You can understand.
At the time,
now you can't.
Gilovan's Pure Water, all of those places.
Yes.
But now I think a plot there is between 5 and 10 million.
Yeah, if it's inside. If it's in.
If it's in.
In.
If it's by the road, how much
is it? If it's by
now?
the road, you'll be talking about 10, 15. Now.
Per plot.
Per plot.
But this is good. So come again with the list again of top medium cost real estate.
We're talking about
Arakwaja. Arakwaja is a good place.
You'll be talking about Elenushonshu. What's the name of this? Before you get to Elenushonshu, there's a place.
How is the road?
Alafara.
How's the road now that connects that place? You know, you have to go through Jericho.
Yes.
To get there, you go
at
through
least to a point, the road is started.
Now
it's started, but now we are having some pothole in place. So I
the
think
road
it's
the road from Jericho into Elenushonshu is started now.
Immediately after, there is a federal government housing unit there. Low cost, yes.
Is it occupied?
At Alafara. But
federal government housing estate.
But because of no, I think it's Oyo State Housing Corporation rather.
But there's a housing estate there.
There's an housing estate there. But because the road was bad, but they have started work on it. So it's another good area. This Arakwaja I made mention of was a no-go area because of the bad road. But once they did Odonokekere route, they did that of Asunle, Kasumu, Tipa Garage. They have done that. They are still working on it. It has really opened up that area.
I don't think we have up to 5 yet, do we?
No, I can't. We are still talking.
Okay, yes. So let's get some more.
Yes, I have mentioned the axis of Odonokekere. We are talking of Arakwaja. We are talking of
different parts of town. Yes.
We are talking of Ojoekun and stuff like that. Ilututu. Then another axis is Akpete. Akpete is coming up.
I think the place is almost filled up, isn't it?
No, you know.
But what about the infrastructure and the layout?
One thing I want us to understand is that when we want to decongest the city center, a whole lot of work has to be done by the town plan and the development control unit of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban
Do
Development.
you think that they can handle these things
They
without
can. For instance,
partnering with the private sector?
in recent time, the Oyo State government came up with amnesty on approval of.
Yes, I think it's a 90-day period.
Yes,
I think it's still on.
It's still on, and then that is a way to see. Oh, they will advise you. This is what you have constructed. Go and put this in place so that we can grant you approval. And it's a way to correct some anomalies.
I'm just talking about what Akwete should look like, if that's what it looks like. I haven't been there in a while. Do you have the right drainages, the right road, something close to, like, say, Bodija, for instance?
Bodija is a classified estate,
but it's old. It's not really something we should always
Bodija
talk about.
You see, that was where
I'm talking about
the first estate.
The layout of the
that's the first estate, as far as Ibadan is concerned.
But you don't think that government should also be proactive in making sure that some of these places that are springing up rapidly are taken after places like Bodija in looks?
I think they are working on. There is another place. I'm not here to talk for the government.
You are not.
I'm talking as a professional based on what we see on ground.
Yes.
I want to state that there's another estate behind Owodi Estate. There's another one coming up
by the state government. Okay, it's a
in
private
partnership.
concern.
It's a PPP arrangement.
So those places that you mentioned, let's quickly just have a recap, because I want to get your closing remarks as the vice chair of the NIESV. I want to get your closing remarks, but very quickly, just 5 of them again. Let's list them. If you're thinking of investing in Oyo State, in Ibadan especially, then you should be thinking of these areas. If you don't have that
residential.
much money, yes, for residential, medium cost,
medium cost residential.
You know, because you can't have anything medium cost in Oluyole again. Forget that.
It's not.
Or Bodija or Jericho. No, you can't.
You can't.
It's impossible.
Can't.
So you have to be thinking about places very quickly. That's like 5 of them. Yes, one.
Then you'll be talking of Ajibode. That's close to UI. You'll be talking of
Ajibode. Are you sure you can get up to like 10 acres of land in Ajibode?
You can, of course.
To have a housing estate.
Yes,
Ajibode is pretty much around here. It's not far.
Yes, you can get.
It's less than 5-10 minutes drive from the University of Ibadan.
We have it's close to Akwete. The share boundary, Ajibode shares boundary with Akwete.
Ajibode is a nice place to.
Yeah, so those are that's another area. You can look at what's the name of Olorundaba Axis after Akubo. Olorundaba Axis after Akubo, and well, you are more or less taking my consultancy.
No, yeah, that's why. That's why you should. Yeah, that's what the essence. Yeah. That's the essence of the landlords. It's an intersection
of course.
captains, players in the industry to give the listener out there a sense of what's happening. And if they know what is happening, then they'll think, oh, I think I need an estate survey on value. One plot, get me one, or stuff like that. So that's the essence.
Another area.
The last one now.
That could be of interest is these after this road.
Our time is gone already.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the landlords. But before you go, what's your advocacy? Very quickly, what are you people in summary? I know you guys have a lot going. Very quickly, what's your advocacy? That's talking. His closing remarks. The Vice Chairman NIESV Oyo State Branch ESV Tanibola Olasukami. What are you people trying to advocate now as a branch of the NIESV? Very quickly.
Yes, thank you very much.
We have less than 2 minutes to do
this. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to tell our listeners that an investor in real estate, that you must consider hiring a qualified and a licensed personnel or firm for the management of your property, and that person can only come from Nigerian